Welcome to the Real Estate Investor Summit podcast, coming to you straight from the smallest big town in Texas with your host, mentor, and owner financing master, Mitch, aka Be the Bank Steven. The possibilities of life without a job start here. So grab your pen and paper and listen up. Y'all just might figure out how to fail forward to financial freedom.
This episode of the Real Estate Investor Summit podcast is brought to you by TaxFreeFuture.com. TaxFreeFuture.com offers you tax-free and tax-deferred savings accounts such as the IRA, the solo 401k, health savings accounts, and educational savings accounts. So to get your free consult, go to TaxFreeFuture.com and fill out the short questionnaire and hit the submit button, and you will not believe what your tax advisors are not telling you. Be sure to get your free consult, taxfreefuture.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to you today about livecom.com. That's livecom.com, as in live communications. Now, this is a mass texting platform. It's mass texting done right. It's quick, it's affordable, and it's effective. It hits your customers right between the eyes and for pennies on the dollar. So when you watch the video on the homepage at livecom.com, you're going to learn exactly how I sell 100 houses per year with an average of 9 days on the market. Get that? Only 9 days on the market. I'm selling 100 houses a year. So please check out this incredible tool. It works for almost any business. So go to livecom.com, that's livecom.com, and take advantage of the 30-day free trial offer. That's right, you get 30 days free, you get to check it out, peruse the website, see how it works. Livecom.com, mass texting done right. This is Mitch, and welcome to the 1000houses.com podcast. I'm here with Eric Martell. And Eric, where are you sitting at right now physically? What town, what city, what state, what country?
I'm in Hermosa Beach, California, just a small little beach town close to Los Angeles.
Hermosa Beach, California. All right. And we're going to be talking about turnkey rentals and why you might be interested in getting into the turnkey rental business or taking advantage of turnkey rentals to create passive income so that you don't have to work the rest of your life and you can actually fire your boss. Hey, there's a concept, right? So before we get started, I'd like to say thank you to livecom.com for sponsoring this episode. That's livecom, livecom.com. There's a reason why I have no signs in my yards when I sell a house, not even one, and I don't spend hardly any advertising money at all, and I sell my houses within 4 days. I average 4 days on the market, my last 200 houses. There's a reason why. Check out livecom.com. It's all about lead generation, capturing cell phone numbers, text messaging people that are interested in what you have to offer at will, and connecting like dead on for minuscule amounts of money and super fast. So check it out, livecom.com. Thank you very much for the sponsorship, people. All right. Eric, give us a little background on you so we figure out where you come from. You're starting out a young man. Why real estate?
Well, I started my first dip into real estate when I was 18 years old, and I bought my first apartment building. I was still at university, and I had met this real estate mentor or real estate investor. And the thing is that he was just a normal person. Imagine that. But he was just like a regular community college teacher. You would have met him and you wouldn't have thought twice about it. But he had built a 36-unit apartment building. He was planning to do a shopping center. He was working with architects and all of that. And he was also investing in nursing homes. And it was just like, I knew that I wanted to get as much information from this guy and say, how can you do it? Because I came from a modest background. My parents were 9 to 5, just like normal people. We were not poor. We were certainly not rich. And I knew that this is not what I aspired to more than that. And I knew that I was very interested in business and all of that. But when I met this guy, I knew that I had to learn from him. And so he agreed to be my mentor. And after like 9 months and stuff like that, I finally found an apartment building that I was able to buy. No money down, still cash flowing. So that was my first real estate investment. And this is when I knew that it was possible. It was not part of a grand plan to achieve financial freedom at that point. I was so young, I had all the time in front of me. But for me, it was a test, an experience to say, hey, I can make money without working 9 to 5. I have money coming into my bank and by collecting rent and all of that. So that was really the first test for me. After that, I moved into different towns, big towns in Montreal, in Toronto, in San Francisco Bay Area since 2000. And every time I tried to find the same kind of real estate investment that were cash flowing, but also had good returns. And it was not really possible. You had to, in San Francisco, you could find something that cash flowed, but you had to put 75% of the property down, and then your return on cash was like ridiculously low, just slightly below treasury bills or bonds. So I decided to stay in the stock market and not do anything else after that. But I knew that I needed to do something. I was still focused on passive income. Then we had the dot-com crash, and then I knew that really kind of put more fire under me. I lost a lot of money in that dot-com crash. I had stock options. Then I said, okay, I want to be in control. Like the stock market is great.
So did any of your stocks go to zero?
I had stock options. None of them went to zero, but they dropped. Some of them dropped like 75%. The stock options, as you know, if it goes so close to the strike price, then they kind of became almost worthless. So that's where that really hit me. I mean, all that paper money that really didn't convert it to cash yet. And then, but you have this is worth this much money. As soon as the stock market drops, you see where the value goes. It just goes out the door.
I like that. Like I talk to my private lenders and they say, well, I'm kicking ass in the stock market. And I said, oh, so you sold.
Exactly.
Well, so you sold. No, I haven't sold yet. I said, well, you haven't made anything if you haven't sold.
Yeah.
They said, yeah, but it's up like 7. I said, well, the trick is you have to sell before it goes down. And that's where everyone fails.
Yeah. Unrecognized gains are not gains.
Yeah, it's like at Vegas, you might be up at blackjack at one point 3 times what you brought in the door. But if you don't go home and go to bed with it, it's going to disappear. You said a lot of stuff there. I was making some notes.
Yeah.
How long it took you to find your first place. I think people need to understand that it takes a long time to come to a lot of conclusions for yourself. You know what I mean? Like for yourself.
Yeah.
Because people can tell you all they want to on this seminar, this Zoom podcast episode or a webinar, they can tell you all they want. But until you come to the conclusion in your own heart that, holy shit, I need to do something like X or Y, does it ever really become real? It took me I bought my first place when I was 20 or 21, didn't get a handle on what I was really trying to do till I was 34, so it was a long process.
Yeah.
And youth is very not in your favor. You're just too dumb to know anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Youth has some advantages, but also has significant disadvantages. I mean, I had no money. I had like $120, $75 or $200 in my bank account. And then when I had to sign with a bank or with a credit union to get the loan, the application fee was like $150. So it was like, okay, well, that's 3/4 of my bank account is gone. This better work. And that worked out. But again, it was a great test for me to give me the confidence to kind of like look forward and really focus on business.
Yes, you wrote an ebook and it's downloadable over here in our show notes. It's Stop Trading Your Time for Money, which is a big mistake that people make. And a lot of entrepreneurs get stuck in that trading time for money. They invent a business that they make a really nice, pretty logo. They get their own phone number and they don't work for anybody else, but they've essentially created themselves a job where they're a slave to their clients, to the business that they bring in the door because they never learn to get out of the way of the business. You know what I mean? And there's some businesses that would be easier to get out of the way than others. Like you're fond of buy and hold or rental properties. I'm fond of rental properties at a different type, but still a rental because it only takes property managers after that point to handle it. And that's not rocket science. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
it has its minutia and its little bit of sophistication, but it's not rocket science. And so you can actually get your freedom. And it takes a little while for people to get that conclusion. Yeah, we're all chasing the money. We want the money, the money, the money, the money, the money, the money. But then after you get the money, you find out like, wow, this isn't as cool as I thought because I have a lot of money, but I'm tired and I have no time and I have a lot of responsibility. And this is heavy. This is very heavy. And so then what is it? There's always another level, right, Eric?
Yeah, absolutely.
Then learn how to get out of the way so the money can make the money, and then learn how to enjoy the money and not have the money ruin you. And so there's always another level. And how do you cut your tax liability legally and all that stuff? There's always another level. Tell us about your book, Stop Trading Your Time for Money.
Yeah, I mean, this book is actually, I wrote a different book before writing the book. I had a completely different plan. But then as I was going through, I mean, I think everybody should write a book. Whether you publish it or not is a different story. But I think writing the book it really kind of makes you think and organize your thoughts and where you are today, on how you became successful, if you consider yourself successful. And for me, like I had been an independent consultant for many years, and I could really see like you can't imagine how your money is tied to the hours you sell. I mean, you're basically 1 hour you work, it's 1 hour at your rate that you're getting in the bank. You stop working, you want to go on vacation. Not only do you have to pay for your vacation, now you also have to not make any money.
Lost opportunity cost, right? Like
exactly.
Like a surgeon. I feel sorry for surgeons, and I have doctors that are my private lenders that when they look at my life and look at their life, they go, what the hell did I do? Mm-hmm. This guy, Mitch Stephen, he barely has a high school diploma. He's on vacation all the time.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And I knew that. I mean, I could really feel it. It's like every time I was going on vacation, I would be stressed out, more stressed out than at work. Because at work, at least I knew that I was making money. But when I was on vacation, I was like, oh my God. And then you never know when the plug is going to be pulled on a project or something like that. I was a business consultant. Sometimes you work on a big project. Yeah. And then the companies decide, oh, you know what? This is canceled now. You shifted the budget around and this is not a priority anymore. Boom. Goodbye. I was like, well, what do I do now? There's a big gap in my budget. And all of a sudden, could take me like 3-6 months to find another project like that. So you have to have the savings and all of that if you don't have passive income. And this is why I'm telling people that you need to focus on financial freedom and building a passive income stream like as early as you possibly can.
So what's the biggest challenge for people? They come to the conclusion, okay, I need to build financial freedom. What's the biggest challenge you think?
So the biggest challenge, I think, is they need to figure out kind of like that this is something that they need to do. Like they have to go through that process. And then there's a mind shift also is that because if you're used to working like 9 to 5, what happens is that you are basically told what to do and all of that, and you just do it and then you're done for the day. When you are working on your passive income, you're becoming an entrepreneur, you're becoming a business person. And this is very different. You are in control, or you are the one driving the agenda, driving your business. You can't just be sitting back and waiting for things to happen. You have to make things happen. And so this is a very big mind shift that people don't realize they have to do. There's a book that I read a while back called What Got You Here Won't Get You There. And it was really about that shift that, yeah, you were very successful in your job and all of that. But now the next step is there's some skills that are transferable that you can use, but there's a bunch of other skills that you need to acquire and realize that you need in order to move forward. So that's probably the number one thing I think why it's a big challenge. Then you set up your goal, and then it's finding the strategies. There are so many strategies out there, and people don't know what to pick. And then they go to these meetups and say, oh, this one is making a lot of money. They made like $5,000 or $10,000. I want to make $10,000 or $100,000. And you see all these different strategies, and then it's kind of like get them off track. And you have to pick a strategy that matches with your resources and capabilities. And the big one is about money. And the second big one is about time. How much time do you have to devote to this strategy? Yes, you can do full development project and stuff like that, from ground up development and all of that. But it takes time for you to work with all the different groups, for the permitting, for the architect, for the contractors and all of that, to get all of that sorted out. And it takes a long time for it to be done. So yeah, you could do that, but do you have the time? You're working full time. You don't have the time to work on that. And this is why we need to find, out of all the strategy, you need to find the one that fits your resources in terms of money and time. And this is why in my book, I have an investment quadrant. And I basically the real estate passive income strategies and where they fit in this quadrant. And you want to basically be in the lower left quadrant where it doesn't take too much time because you're working full time. And it's minimal risk because you don't want to waste too much money at the beginning. You want to take minimal risk. And there are a few investments in there. One of them is single family rentals. Other ones is PML. Other ones, if you have Airbnb or house hacking and stuff like that. So there's a bunch of other ones.
BML? What was
PML? Private money lending. Sorry.
Oh,
I'm so used to it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So these are some of them that could work out. Yeah.
Now, people ask me sometimes, what do? I said, man, start with private money lending. They said, well, I don't have much money. I said, well, you're just trying to grow the money you have. Well, I only have $2,000. Great. Buy something worth $4,000 with the $2,000 and sell it. You just doubled your money. Now, rinse and repeat. It doesn't matter. Rolex watches, cars, guns, guitars, whatever you know. You know what I mean? Whatever it is you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what you have to do. And this is part of the resources too. Like I focus on real estate because that's something that I am passionate about, that I like. And also because it's an amazing investment in terms of tax benefits, in terms of appreciation, instead of being able to use leverage. It's an amazing way to invest. But if people have other resources and other capabilities and stuff like that, I mean, this could be completely different. It could be writing songs, for example, or something like that, and music.
Well, you could go broke writing songs. Ask me how you know. So, I like the idea that you said writing a book kind of organizes your thoughts, figures out, I just wrote my 4th book and I have my 5th and 6th just on deck, but it all started with a book called My Life in 1,000 Houses, Failing Forward to Financial Freedom, which I was grieving a tragic loss. And I didn't know it at the time, but I was just trying to catalog my life. I was just like, where have I been? What have I done? What am I doing? Where do I go now? Why does this happen? How do you stop this stuff from happening? Like, what am I doing? What am I doing here? What am I going to do? And get yourself kind of mapped out, because life gets pretty interesting and fun, even though it's a lot of work. Fun when you find your focus and you find your place and you're going for it. And everything before that and after that is confusing, but I've never been so at peace when I knew exactly where I was trying to go and I knew exactly what I was going to do to try to get there. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Not that it was easy or smooth, but I remember it clearly. There was like nothing would come between me and that. I went like 5 or 6 years so focused that it was the reason why I made it, because there are a lot of different opportunities. And I learned through trial and error that every time I got out of my lane, I would get hit by a truck. Boredom and entrepreneurialism doesn't work really well, because once you start getting bored with you start trying new things, you're going to start learning new lessons. And some of them are pretty painful. So why single family residences, or what do? You just named a whole bunch of stuff. What's your preference?
Well, I have multiple preferences. I think for the people that are getting started, I think the single family rental is probably the easiest one to get into, because first of all, if I was to, in general, real estate rental is a great investment for many reasons. If I was to create an investment from scratch, I would want to have something that, like I said, you can use leverage. You put a little bit of money, have control of a bigger asset. You want to have appreciation. You want to have positive cash flow. You want to have amazing tax benefits. And there's only one investment that does that, and it's real estate. It's real estate that does that. And if you want to get into that and you're working full time and you don't have a huge amount of money to invest, single family rental is a good way to get into the game and get started in investing and build a passive income portfolio gradually over time. You start getting the tax benefit and you can kind of like ramp up that way. This is not the only one that you can do. If you have more money, you can, apartment buildings. This is totally available. And this is the first building that I bought was apartment building.
I started with rental houses, but I ended up doing self-storage around a lake.
Yeah.
And I started, my first place was only 15 units, like how much could it be? Today it's 1,300 doors and they all owe about $100 a month. In 1991, I bought my first storage units But you're right. I mean, I'm a big fan of seller financing houses. That's really what I know the most of. I seller finance my houses because I get a sizable upfront commitment from these people, 10% or more. And then I have a cash flow that's not hindered by any repairs, but I lose depreciation, I lose appreciation. And right now, the last 2 or 3 years, I hadn't thought about it much, but the last 2 or 3 years now, you can say, well, if I still had all these houses, oh my God. But everything has its plus and minus. You know, I don't promote one over the other. There's a lot of people that get $1 million in rental houses. There's a lot of people that has done well seller financing houses. You just kind of got to pick your poison. And sometimes there's a blend between the two, you know, rent the houses for 2 or 3 years and then get some depreciation, get all that stuff, then sell them, or just owner finance your problems. Everyone sometimes has a black cloud rental. No reason why it always does bad. It just does. So when you say I got a black cloud rental, just seller finance it to the next guy and turn it into sunshine.
So I mean, you have good points too. Like again, you know, self-storage, great investment. I like it.
To your point,
it's a rental, exactly. So when you focus on cash flow, great investment. It's a little bit different. It's not as easy for somebody that gets started. And my goal is like, just get started, get enough passive income. And then after that, look at other strategies in the investment quadrant. Take a little bit more risk. Do a BRRRR strategy, which is for your listeners is, you know, buy, renovate, rent, refinance, and repeat, right? So this is a pretty famous BRRRR strategy. So it requires more time to do that. It requires more money to do that. And then you can do that. Self-storage is another good one. You need this little bit different skill set on how to do your due diligence and looking at the numbers, but you can do it. It takes a little bit more time to get that strategy off and ready to go and finding the deals to do that. So these are all very good things. And then seller financing, you know, also pretty good. I've done some seller financing as well. It has some great advantages, especially for us, for our business, because we're selling some of these rental properties. So it helps us sell the properties.
Yeah, it can help you not take a tax hit. It can do all kinds of things. But my point was I wholesale flipped and seller financed my way to 1,300 rental units that owe me $100 a month. So 1,300 rental units at $100, that's $130,000 a month. You know, and I don't owe anything on any of it. So, you know, it worked. And it was a little bit of everything or a little bit, you know, but when I first started out, I started out fixing and flipping. Usually people start out wholesaling. But I went straight to fixing and flipping. But, you know, it doesn't really matter how you get there. And there's no right or wrong way to get there, right? I mean, you wake up when you wake up. You start to notice things when you start to notice. Sometimes you have some aha moments and like, holy cow, if I'd have been doing it this way instead of that way for the last 10 years, I would have made a lot more money.
So, Mitch, how do we wake them up? Because I've been trying to tell people, I said, you need to focus on financial freedom. And, you know,
by doing what you're doing, you know, you're out there shouting at the top of your lungs, practically, you know, you don't know where to start. Go get my book. Stop trading your time for money. I mean, that's where it is. People got to get educated because it's not going to come walk over and lay in their lap. You got to go get it. So you're saying go to 1000houses.com/turnkey, get a digital copy, download it right away. Stop trading your time for money. There'll be contact information over there if you ever want to talk to Eric, whatever. They'll figure out how to get to him over there. There's everything over there.
And the thing is that people look at their retirement account. They look at their 401k and they say, okay, I have all this money and stuff like that. I have like $500,000 or $300,000. You know, I'll figure it out. You want to figure it out early because you want to know that this is, I have $300,000. How is that $300,000 going to be converted into a stream of income when I want to retire at 60, 65, or maybe I want to retire earlier? You need to figure that out early because it's not going to get you where you want to be. I can guarantee you that. And I think the average retirement savings right now for like the 55 and plus, I think it's close to like $20,000 or $30,000. I forget the number was. It was ridiculously low. So you're not going to do anything. That's why they're going to have to open more Walmarts for people to be greeters at, or more greeters per Walmart, something like that. I'm not sure.
Well, Eric, we're about time to wrap it up. Is there anything you'd like to say to the movie out there or someone who's just starting to think, how do I start? Where do I start? What do I do? I mean, what do you got to say to that person?
Yeah, I think the number one thing I think people have to think about is that your goal should be to achieve financial freedom. If you lost your job tomorrow, do you have enough passive income to actually get to the next job and stuff like that? So enough of that would be very important. Also, we're moving into a gig economy. You're going to be more and more people are going to have gaps in incomes. They're going to have these ups and downs. Again, passive income strategy is going to be great to fill in these gaps. Take some off the top and work on that.
Would you call that a gig economy?
Yeah, gig economy. Basically, a lot of people that are working, let's say, for Uber or Lyft, and a lot of workers are also kind of being converted into consultants and not being working full time for their employers. So all of that is becoming more and more trendy. And some of the things that are happening legally are making it easier for companies to pay people on a gig basis. And then if you're planning to retire in the next 50 years, you should focus about kind of like really look at how your retirement savings, how they're going to be converted into a passive income stream. You need to figure that out as soon as possible. And there are different strategies out there. In my book, I talk about the different strategies as well. And I've written a couple of other articles about that as well. If you want to know more, let me know. The earlier you figure that out, the better you're going to be prepared when the time comes to retire.
So in my first book, My Life in 1,000 Houses, Failing Forward to Financial Freedom, I did a chapter called the moat theory. And basically, I think where everyone needs to start is figure out how to replace your income. Try to get whatever you're making per month, try to get that coming on the side, get your side hustle going, and figure out how to get that amount of money coming into your mailbox every month while you're working.
Yep, absolutely.
And when you get there, that means you could quit your job if you want. I'm not necessarily saying you should quit the minute it gets there. But here's the thing. For those of y'all who don't make any money right now, this may be your greatest revelation because you'll get freer faster than everybody else in the world because you don't have to make that much. You know, the guy that's making $400,000 a year, he's got a problem. Plus insurance, plus car, plus phone, plus office space. I mean, he's got a problem. And unless he's saving a tremendous amount of that $400,000, which right off the bat, the government's going to be getting, 35% of it, right? You know, he's got a problem. Most of the people I know that make big money have got themselves worked all the way up to spending just about all of it.
Yeah.
If you only make $35,000 a year, you're talking about 10 deals that make $300 a month or 5 deals that it's not that big a deal. So for once, being broke or not making a lot of money might be your greatest asset, because here's the reason why it's so important to get free from the job. The day that you have 3,500 or 4,500 or 5,000 or whatever I call it your freedom number, whatever your freedom number is, when you hit it, that's the day you can tell your boss you don't need his services anymore. And that frees up 2,600 freaking hours a year that you have to become an expert and get rich. So the first job is just get free. And if being in the getting rich is for you, you'll get rich after you get free. The first goal is get free. What do you got to make to pay your bills and your overhead? Some people, when I talk to them, say, I make $6,000 a month, but my overhead's only $3,000. Good. To get your freedom number then is $3,000, because I'm not talking about how much you want to make or to go on vacations around the world. I'm talking about get your bills for everything you need to survive, car, insurance. If you consider $50 or $100 a month cable TV, a must have. I mean, whatever it is, your rent, your mortgage payment, whatever it is, your life insurance, you put it in the middle of a circle, you draw a circle around it called the moat, and you dig that moat out, you put water in it, you put alligators, crocodiles, piranhas, everything in it, and you go to work figuring out how to pay for what's inside that moat. And when you get those assets, you put them in there too, and you never risk what pays for your standard of living inside the moat. Every extra dime you make, you can drop the drawbridge from your castle over the moat. You can charge out and you can blow all the extra, but you never gamble what pays for what's inside the moat, your little life, your little bitty life. You got all your treat back there. That's how you fail without going under. That's how you fail forward, is getting a little simple life secured that they can't take away from you, that's coming in the mailbox every month. And now everything over that, if you lose it all, you just come back into your little castle, turn on the air conditioner and say, okay, what the hell did I do wrong? I guess I didn't study chapter 5 good enough. Let me go back and review chapter 5, And how long is it going to be before you figure it out?
I totally agree. I'm 100%. I mean, my book is not about getting rich. It's not a get rich scheme. It's about getting your time back. It's about, right? And it's a choice. So
did you ever plan to be wealthy? Because I didn't. I planned to I wanted my freedom. And then I just tried to do better every year than I did last year, or you know what I mean? Like I just tried to keep improving. I looked up one day and I have no idea that this is where I would be. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. And for me, like, when I was very young, I mean, I knew that I wanted a different life for myself, and I said, I want to be wealthy. And they said, well, what do you mean by that? And just like, I don't know, I want to be able to do what I want to do without thinking too much about money. Like if I need a new car, I go and I'll buy a new car. Like it's not a problem. I don't need a Ferrari, but if I need a new car, I go get a new car. I want to go travel, I go travel. I want to take 6 months off, I take 6 months off. To me, that's real wealth. Having a private jet, I don't have that need right now. So I don't know if I ever will, but
hey, if it flies, floats, or faces the ocean, rent it.
That is very interesting because I use the same.
You have I heard that it was, well, there's a really.
Yes, I know the other one. Yeah.
But I hadn't heard the one faces the ocean.
Yeah, that's right. No,
or faces the ocean, rent it. Like people get stuck into these condos and these beach houses. It's like, why do you do that? Because now you have to go there. And if you don't go there, you feel guilty. And then you get tired of going there. And then you got to worry about it when the hurricane's hitting. Like, just rent the damn thing and go home. Same thing with a Learjet. You want to be a hot shot for the weekend? Great. Rent the bitch.
Exactly. Yeah. $30,000. There you go. Take your pictures, take your videos. Say, oh, look at my jet.
All right, man. Hey, it's been fun. This is Mitch Stephen with 1000houses.com podcast. I'd like to thank everybody for stopping by to get you some Eric Martel. Be sure to go to 1000houses.com/turnkey and read Eric's book, Stop Trading Your Time for Money. And also, he's probably going to have a lot of information for you, or a way to talk to him about turnkey rentals. I mean, that's what he does. He buys rentals, gets them all rented up, and then he sells them to people who don't have time to do that portion. They just want to buy it. It's already got someone in it. It's already functioning. It already has a cash flow stream. It already has a management company. It already has everything. All you got to do is buy the asset from him and tell the people that are managing it to keep doing what they're doing.
Exactly.
Right? So check it out. One more time, 1000houses.com/turnkey. And I appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate livecom.com, livecom.com. Find out why I'm averaging 4 days on the market, my last 200 houses. That's about it for now. We're going to wrap it up. We're out of here. See you later.
Thank you, Mitch. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Owner Financing Master, Mitch Be the Bank Stephen, on the Real Estate Investor Summit podcast. Let us now blatantly, without apology, bribe you towards financial freedom by offering you a whole bunch of free stuff. Go to reinvestorsummit.com and get you some. And you all come back now, you hear?